Good morning and welcome back to Home Renovation Experts. Steve here on this very nice little number. So if you followed the last job, obviously it's a load of composite decking going down, which is a lovely job to do. This one is a nice simple version without the decking. That makes sense of it. So here we've got a bit of grass, a bit worse for wear. It's a bit of a pain for legs to try and keep up on top of. So what we're going to do is probably the cheapest thing you can do to kind of cover your soil to make it a bit more hard standing and make it a bit more decorative as well. So what I'm going to do is railway sleepers across this edge, right? All the way to there, follow it across, return. Thinking about doing a notch out of this one just to save having to like step up over the sleeper, but we'll let the lady decide whether she feels comfortable with the height of it and stuff. But if not, I'll notch out a bit so it's a little walkway for her. Weed membrane the whole area, everywhere. And then I'm sticking in 5 850 kilogram bags of fine pea shingle, the decorative one. So we're just going to pour that in the whole section, push it, level it off so it's level with the risers, sleepers, sorry. So it's got the same sort of gap across the top. Once that's done, 4 slabs here, we're going to put on a diamond into the stones, leading across this way. And then what I'm going to do is, to keep the pea shingle from moving, bear this gear. So basically, this then binds all those pea shingles together, which creates, it just means it doesn't shift so much under your feet. So it makes it a bit harder, which is going to be perfect. So what I'm going to do is get the little sleepers back in the garden, start lining those up, figure out where everything's going to be. I'm then going to get the correct fixings, which are going to be post-created in so that those will never then move anywhere. They're going to stay exactly where I placed them. So that is the plan. So right, I'm going to get myself set up and I'll show you how I'm doing that. Right, so I've now given a bit of a start. Oh, but massively huge improvement. Mid-deliveries turn up. So this is what we'll be filling up the space with. Beautiful, beautiful decorative 10mm pea shingle. Stunning. Nice and simple as that. So you can now see, putting the first sleepers in. All I'm doing is, so for here, I pulled this bracket a bit further away, just to get it away from the fences to make it a bit easier. Dug myself a hole about 230mm deep, because that is basically what this rod is. I've also got a lovely straight line here, so I'm basically just making sure that all my sleepers follow the line of the path. They're going to be tight up against it. I connected the second one to it, so I'm always working 2 at a time, just so I can put the level on. It's not about the level, it's about making sure that they're basically in contact, give or take, through, so they're not kind of then going like that and like that, so you end up with a gap. Just looks a bit neater. And now that I'm kind of screwed that on, I'm just using 100mm screws. This is like just over 100mm thick. So along with the bracket, that means it doesn't punch through the other side, but that's a nice big screw that's going to hold that in place. What I'm now going to do is get some water, chuck it in that hole and this hole, chuck in a bit of postcrete here, fill it up to the top with that, same as this one. Give it 5 minutes and then that will be dry and done. And then what I'll do in the meantime is get that one over there and I'll show you how I'm going to level that one off and how I work that. But basically, water, postcrete in the holes, those 2 are fitted. Right, so over this side, in fact, can you even see what I've done there? I don't know, you can. There you go, kind of. Actually, I'll move a bit closer for this little bit. So you can just see there, I've basically put this jointing bracket in. I've not secured it yet, I've just screwed it to one half of here. So that's ready to receive this one. I then butt this one up against that one, so I now know exactly, if you come down this way, I know exactly where I need to dig my hole now. You can just see the markings here. I just basically shove this in. Now, these are bloody helpful, but it's not the be all end all. You don't have to have one, just a normal shovel will do the job. Basically, we take out as far down as we can go to about 230 odd mil. Like I say, that's the size of the spikes. These things are absolutely brilliant. Actually not that expensive. I think it's about 20 quid. So if you've got a few bits and pieces you need digging out, highly recommend. Right, let's get down as I can. Because this was a building site, but like all buildings, there's a bit of debris down here. So that's when I go over to the post digger. You know, it's nice and narrow, perfect for these sort of holes. Start moving out some of these bricks and crap that's in here. Give it a little wiggle around. sometimes it needs a bit of persuading. But once you kind of loosen it off, then just remove the excess soil, either give it with your hands or a little trowel, whatever you got going. You see some big chunks of brick going out now. Oh, that might be a full brick. Yep, that was a big chunk of brick. And what I'm trying to do is, I'm making sure this far edge here, this side, that's basically where the bracket's going to sit. So I just want to make sure, as long as it's sort of that level, I know it's below there, I know it's going to fit perfectly. So that's fine and dandy now, that hole. Now, what I'll do is I'll show you how I kind of level them off. Put that bad boy there. So what I'll do now, position that in there. There's also a bit of debris down this side, I just want to shift out of the way. Sometimes you can see where there's going to be some stuff and crap in your way, so just move it down. Get it on there like so. I've now got it tight and flush up against here, so I know that line is perfect. Now if I get my level, put it on, see what it's doing. Do you know what? That's absolutely spot on. In fact, let me just decant you from here. That is not too bad. So ironically, that is sitting nicely. What you sometimes get though is a dip. So if this hole's too deep or whatever, or it's just kind of sunk in, like I say, we don't need to have a gap underneath the joint. You want it to be as nice as you can. And also you want to make sure that this edge here at the front is nice and flush. And like the rebated edge I've done, I did that myself just with a quick planer, took 2 seconds, just gives it a nice and neat finish. That's lined up nicely. Don't really care about the back too much because at the end of the day, you have your stones coming up here and stuff like that. So as you walk down the path, this is the sort of front you're going to want to look as neat as possible. So I'm now happy exactly where it's lying. So what I shall do is grab the old, hey, easy. I don't know if you can see now, but basically grab 100mm screw, get it lined up the bottom hole of here. Move that stone out my way. Send it home. And then happy days. That is it done. So what I'll do now is, again, this one, I'll have to do a chop this one out because it's too long. I'll show you how I chop a sleeper through. But essentially I'll put another rod down in this one and then I'll get this one secured with postcrete. So that way you always work in one. So those ones are done, they'll be set now. So you're just securing the one once you've got this one in place. Secure that one's still live. So I can still lift it up and pivot it if the gap between the two is not quite right. It just makes life a bit easier. So I shall get this one secured and then show you how to cut these bad boys. Right, so cutting it. Basically, circular saw. Make your mark wherever it needs to be for whatever the length is. This one is a demo piece. I've actually chopped this one through the centre in half. I'll show you why in a second now, but the principle is exactly the same whether it's full depth or not. Once you've marked the length, take your tri-square, mark that off on that side, and then the bottom as well. So I've not done this one yet, so literally just turn it over, take those 2 marks that I've now got and just join them up. It just gives you a guide so when you're cutting, because I see the deepest for the cut I can get on this is 50mm. This stuff is 150. This bit now, because it's through the half, is now 75, so I won't get it in one cut. But now I've got my mark. I work towards the camera, just make sure you're still there and you can see what I'm doing. Can you? Yes, nearly. Bring it to where it needs to be. And that edge is going to be my cut size, so let the blade do the work, don't try and force it through, it will get there. The other thing you can do is also just set this and just do it in partial cuts, just so you take it through, say 25mm, 45mm, 55mm up to 60 or whatever your depth of your saw is capable of. Again, just following the mark. Nice straight cut, easy peasy. Right, I'll show you where I've got to as well. See as I've got you on camera. So you can now see over here, what I've done is I've got a shed base. So what I've done is I created myself a little L bracket from one of these. I just used my disc cutter, my baby one, just to chop off the rebar, parted a hole through the metal, and then obviously straight into there. That means that corner's now locked in there, so it's never going to go anywhere. And then what I've done over here is, so that half one you just saw me have, this is now the reason I did that. So now, as you're coming off your patio, stepping up, you're not stepping up the full height of one of these, you're now stepping up just 75. So when I get the shingles, wherever my level's going to be, if it's say the level would be naturally be higher than here, I'll just level these down just so you've got a nice little rake, so that basically the level there, but it could be, for all I know, that with 5 bags over there, it may come up to just the bracket just below. I'll just even it out across the whole area and see where we get to, but that just makes it a bit easier because this is the primary bit. We're going to be walking from here, transitioning onto those. So that is it. Also, I'm doing right for food recently. Look at that, ledge. The guy I'm working for is a good mate, and he wants to kind of set up his own business doing this kind of stuff, and dude, I'm paying good money for that. I mean, not this time, obviously this was for free, but yeah, that is amazing. You can't see my face, but I'm salivating. I'm logging off now, I'll see you in a minute. And just in case you were wondering how I did get the 45 angle on the wood, basically, I got my plane up. If you just see there, you've just got that slight ridge, so it's designed to then put this on the 45. And then all you do, I set the depth to 10 mil, so nice one. I'll do the other side, just in case you missed it. Simples, you know, simples? I like that. And that's how you do it. Easy peasy. Right, so the final piece that I need to do is this last little bit of step that leads into the house. So you can see we've got a slab here which is very much in my way. So what I'm gonna have to do is basically cut a U-E out of it. Like this one. So you can see I've taken those measurements and I've created my mark for separation. So that once it's knocked out wouldn't fit over that step. You can see I've marked it on one side, through there, and there. Now the way I'm going to do this is exactly the same as I just did, basically. Once I kind of get that on there, and then get this saw, I'll then just use that to then cut. So I've overmarked it, both sides of the cut, so I know I can still see it when I get the blade up to it. So I run my saw through, when I get to the end, stop. I then flip it, get to the end, stop. Run the blade through that way, at the right depth, so it meets up with that cut. And then it'll just be a little jigsaw to finish off. But I'll show you that in a minute. So, there you can see, I've done my cut as far through as I can possibly go. All the way through, all the way there. You can see that it's not coming out yet. Good reason, because it needs to be those joints. So basically, where the blade's was circular, it doesn't quite make the full connection. So I've got my trusty jigsaw. I set it on rough cut because this hasn't got to be perfect. Put it in, but just got to follow that line again. Like that way. Doesn't take much to finish this bit now. There you go. Done and dusted. Now you can see. Beautiful. Isn't it beautiful? Now, I may need to trim the length of this down a touch, but let's see if I can get it in. Actually, no, length's right. There you go. So I just get it all leveled up, get it fit, get it secured, and now it's over there. Beautifully matches up to the wall. Neat as anything. Right, so that's now obviously all the timbers in. The surround is now made beautifully. One thing I didn't mention was, when I come to like these corners, save putting in a digging a hole and stuff because you've got support there for this one. I've put in two lots of 205 Tech screws, so they go in about, I don't know, there. They're massive, and it also allows me to then level this up, pin it nicely, level this one up to it so that this edge is flush all the way through. Because initially when I went to screw it, this one was leaning this way a little bit, so it just helps to correct everything, pulls it nice and tight. Same with this one here, two Tech screws just going in there and there, got that pinned. And then what I also did was I've taken one of these brackets again and I've made myself a teeny bracket just for using my tiny little disc cutter just to cut that like that. So just so I've got support, it's going to be structured there. I've put in a postcrete underneath the joint, load of water, so now that's going to be nice. It's all sort of how's the word, spaces there as well. So that is it. So now catch my breath and slice bags and push all the pea shingle around and get it nice and level. So I should do that and put it on a time lapse video because time lapses are fun. Hopefully you enjoyed that time lapse. That was bastard hard work. There was basically 5 tons of the stuff. So luckily my mate was able to come jump out like you saw and give us a hand, made it a bit easier. But now I've got what I refer to as my fundamental level. Basically it's kind of even Stevens as we go through. The client also wants, like, there was 3 slabs leaning up against the, we probably saw them earlier, but we want those incorporated on a diamond. So what I've done was I then, once I kind of got the amount of stones I know I needed down here, leveled it off like normal, scraped it all back, then put the slabs back in again, and now I just reveal them so that when I spray my adhesive, basically these will now be flush with the stones and nice and even Stevens. So I'll make sure these are nice and clean, no stones left on them because I don't want to stick stones to them, and bring this level back where I need to, and then that is going to look very nice as little planters. It's making use of all this stuff. It's amazing to get old slabs and stuff. You can really do some good stuff with them. So what I'll do now is get those exposed as I just said. I'm going to use my water bottle sprayer, my garden sprayer over there, fill it up with the easy hold, and then I'm going to walk along it, starting that end, spray a section, give it a tinkle with the level just where my feet have been, just to fill in the gaps, then spray the next little section, re-level that bit where my feet have been, rinse and repeat all the way back until I get to here. Now with this stuff, less is more apparently. So yeah, you don't soak the stones, you just give it a very light going over, and that is enough. Thank you, Dan. To just fix it and bind it. Then I'll come back tomorrow morning, give it a second coat, and then that's it done then. With bloody good gear. So right, I'm gonna get off, expose these bad boys, and then get that sprayed. And yes, it is bloody hot out here today. Hello. That's bad.
Oi, oi.
He's the one that helped me. So there you go, done and dusted. Beautiful. Do you like it?
Love it. Outstanding.
That's live testimonies, that is.
Live testimony.
Yeah, live.
Outstanding work.
Yeah, and he makes the most incredible sort of sausage wraps. Amazing. I had 17 cups of tea today, so I'm feeling quite bloated now, which is nice. And this is very nice. So it's now all sprayed up. I'll be back tomorrow morning just to give it one more spray, and that is it. You can see the slabs are now over there. I'll do a close-up tomorrow when I can walk back on it again. Apart from that, happy days. Don't forget to click like, subscribe, hit the bell icon, all those bits and pieces that you need to do for more top tips and all these kind of jobs. Have a nice one, guys and gals. Bye.
And he worked at least 3 days' work. So he had £100 a day.
Yeah.
And he'd done it in less than 2.
Oh, nice.
And it was like, but you don't get your money back.
No.